You are Locked On Cowboys POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Dallas, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Here we go, and welcome to the Locked On Cowboys POSTCAST, your home for the best Dallas Cowboys coverage. That is former Cowboys assistant Glenn Smith right there to my right. I am Jeff Biggs, longtime host and reporter. Thank you for watching Locked On Sports Dallas, your team every day, and your team, at least for us, every game. Your destination after every single game. You can also find us on the Locked On Cowboys podcast feed as well. Marcus and Landon do a great job every day during the week with the Cowboys podcast. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. And coming up, we are going to talk about how the Cowboys blocked themselves from a win tonight. Another really, really good job by the Cowboys defense and what happened with the offense. And we'll wrap things up with the stretch drive with Glenn Stretch Smith giving his thoughts on where the Cowboys go from here and what about the rest of the season as the Cowboys try to hang in there and stay in the race despite another loss tonight to fall to 5-8. Well, Glenn, 27-20, the final score tonight as the Cowboys lose. Really had a chance to win there late in the game, had momentum, had a lot of things going their way, and really that blocked punt, which was a great play. The defense did their job. 4th and 26, you get a blocked punt, and you have a new guy that just called up, couldn't get his hands on the ball, and the Bengals took over, and that's all they needed.
Yeah, really unfortunate. I mean, when you are moving guys on and off of the practice squad, when you're moving guys in to help you in a special teams scenario, obviously they have to know, and I'm sure that Bones Fossil has gone over this with them. Hey, when the punt is blocked, get out of the way, especially if the ball is past the line of scrimmage. I mean, it really is. That's one of the simplest rules you can know in the game. I feel horrible for Owarie. He's the one who tried to field the ball, muffed it, then it gets turned over. I mean, literally, you're in a 4th and 27 situation. You're getting ready to get the football back in decent field position with the best field goal kicker in the game who could hit it from 60 all day long, and you lose a football game with Owarie making really a bonehead play. It really is. It's a shame. I mean, if you looked at the sideline and you looked at the bench, you saw Parsons was almost unbelieving that he had tried to field that. It's one of the most maybe since Leon Lett tried to field it, have I not seen anything like that. I mean, this is a team that went out and really, I thought, played their hearts out and played about as good defensively against as good an offensive team as there is in the league. And to have that happen where you get the stop that you need at the time that you need it in the game, and you get a block punt, the ball goes past the line of scrimmage, and Owarie tries to. It really is. It's one of those things that is. It's unforgivable, and it will be very tough for this football team to recover from something like that, because you had every opportunity here to put yourself right back in the middle of it. And we know that the margin for winning and losing in the National Football League is razor thin. And so to make a play like that when you're playing your backup quarterback, when you get a great rushing effort out of Rico Dowdle. I mean, I think he averaged over 7 yards a carry, and you can't put the football game away. It's something that really is, it's inexcusable. It really is. And so do I feel bad for that young man? I certainly do, but that cannot happen. And that's one of those things that if you go back and think about how Bill Belichick coaches the little bitty things all the time. I mean, it makes you wonder right now, would this have happened if Bill Belichick had been the coach?
And to your point, and this is not hyperbole, I mean, this was a must-win game. I mean, we're running out of games here, running out of an opportunity to close the gap with the teams at the bottom of the wild card race. Had to get that win tonight to stay in it and to really be alive. And this one, it's not a final blow. I mean, yeah, things could happen mathematically, but considering it was at home and against a bad team with another game coming, you really needed to get this win tonight if you're the Cowboys, and they didn't get it done.
Yeah, if you wanted any opportunity to be in the playoffs, you had to count this as a win. I don't see, and I think that's the point. I don't see them recovering from this. I just think that had you gotten this win, you're still 2 games back of Washington and multiple other teams, and you didn't do it, and it's really, really unfortunate. And it's one thing, again, Jeff, to get beat in a game. That's going to happen. But to lose a football game on really a mental mistake in the kicking game where he had no business being around that football. I mean, they should have been screaming, Peter, Peter, Peter. Everybody runs away. There was no reason for him to be around that football. Yeah. And then he compounds the problem by trying to field the damn thing. It's just
well, I was going to say, you could tell by the way he did that.
Yeah.
He was getting excited. I mean, like, wow, like a kid in the candy store. Oh man, I'm going to get my hands on the ball. I can run and do something. But that not at that time. That was not the time or the place for that.
Well, and again, those are all things that when you have a 45-minute special teams meeting every day. I mean, you're reemphasizing what the rules are. You're reemphasizing what to do in a situation, how to handle every single situation in a game. And at that time of the football game could come at a worse time. I mean, literally, I just don't even know how you recover from something like that. It's almost a situation where you'd be doing that kid a favor to cut him tomorrow morning.
And it's good. This is going to sound funny saying this, Glenn, and I know you're, as a former coach, probably sound funnier to you, but as you know, I mean, there are teams that find a way to win, right? They just find a way to win. And this Bengals team, for whatever this season, they have just found ways to lose. And they were right on track with that. I mean, they were giving the Cowboys the opportunity a couple of different ways there in that fourth quarter to win the game. I mean, they really did well.
Exactly. They were trying to do Cincinnati things, which was not be able to, convert on that first down, holding penalty. I mean, literally you had it set up. You couldn't have got it set up any more perfect than that. I mean, you're going to get the ball in decent. You got Turpin back there. Who knows? He'd given you a 22-yard return early in the football game. Yep. And when you don't, again, when you're not able to execute in the NFL, it's just inexcusable. And I just don't have any words to say. When you look at, we look at how they played offense. We'll get into this, but look at how they played offensively. Look at what they were able to do defensively. They got a pick. I mean, they got some critical stops. And to not be able to win the football game, I'm telling you, Jerry Jones may take over that damn helicopter tonight and fly it himself.
Well, one final thought, and we are coming up. I want to get into some of the specific highlights and talk about both the offense and the defense, but I want to make sure that we hit on this in the opening statement. I mean, 27-20 was the final, but I mean, when you look at the performance of this Cowboys defense tonight, when the Cowboy offense had at least 4 3-and-outs. Maybe I missed one, but I know at least 4, 2 in the second quarter, 2 in the second half. But you look at this Bengals team, okay? Their last 3 games against the Steelers, the Chargers, and the Ravens, all 3, legit top 10 elite defenses in the NFL. And they scored 34 against the Ravens in Baltimore, 27 in that that Sunday night game in LA and 38 against the Steelers. So this Cowboy team, basically to shut them down, they got the late touchdown there, but really essentially to 20. Phenomenal. I mean, they really, I want to make sure that we hit on, they played their, what's off. I mean, they
I mean, I'm telling you, Mike Zimmer called as good a game.
Yeah.
Jordan Lewis played in the slot against Chase a couple of times, as good as he could play, especially on the fourth down. When they didn't get the fourth down, they were wanting to throw the option route to Chase, and Jordan Lewis came up, butted him right at the line, threw the timing off, and they were not able to convert on that. And so, yeah, I mean, you got as much out of a defense that is still, think about it, you still got, I mean, Williams has been out since early in training camp. Lawrence has been out. They did get Nealon back for a few plays today. They got Parsons back. I don't know what's happened to Overshown. Could have got hurt late right there with that, his knee buckled. But, I mean, literally, your defense, Kendricks, you look at it, Leofau, played as good as they could play. Zimmer called as good a game as he could call. And to lose on a special teams, just, FUBAR like that is really unbelievable. It is. I'm still sitting here. We're 15 minutes after the game, and I'm shaking my head thinking, you got a hurting football team now, and it's hard to recover from that.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're gonna go over some of the highlights and some of the big plays and the key moments of this game. 27-20, the final score as the Cowboys come up short tonight. Monday Night Football, home has not been sweet for this Cowboys team this season. 1-5. We'll have more when we come back. This is the Locked On Cowboys POSTCAST. Hey, I want to tell you about. There's a time, and time is our most precious commodity, right? We know that. And so you don't want to waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Well, our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses, including Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, Socialism, and Communism. So go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. Hillsdale.edu/lockedon for more info. All right, want to let you also know this show is brought to you by, this episode sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love watching the game, you're going to love Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy, whether it's football, basketball, or any of your favorite sports. Prize Picks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. Here's why you need to check it out. You can win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30 million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, welcome back to the Locked On Cowboys POSTCAST here on Locked On. I am Jeff Biggs, joined by former Cowboys assistant Glenn Stretch Smith. All right, Glenn, well, let's kind of go over this game and break it down a little bit. Unfortunately, tough loss for the Cowboys. They fall at home to the Bengals, Monday Night Football, 27-20. Start at the beginning, I thought a great start to this game for Cooper Rush and the offense. Got the TD pass to CeeDee Lamb. You're a former coach. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But you had this game, and everybody was talking about the Bengals and their offense and how great Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are, but I didn't hear a lot of talk about CeeDee Lamb going into this game. Would have been different a season ago, but not this season. And I don't think that was lost on the Cowboys or the offense coming into this game. They made a point to get CD going early.
Yeah, I mean, the offense really runs through him. I mean, that's just how McCarthy has set it up this year, trying to get the ball into his hands as much as possible. Now, here's the flip side of that, as we know he's had that banged up left shoulder issue.
Yep. Heard it again tonight, it looked like.
Yeah, and they weren't able, they're not able to get him the football, handed him the football 3 or 4 times the way that they've, done it in the past, or throwing a little tunnel screen to him, throwing a little bubble screen to him. I thought they did a nice job in the second half, direct snapping it to Turpin. He kind of faked that, that he was going to run the flip reverse, kept it out the back door for about 10 yards. So when you look at it personnel-wise, I think Mike McCarthy is getting everything out of the offensive personnel, whether that's Luke Schoonmaker at tight end. They played some 12 personnel. Ferguson was back after going down with an injury. You saw Cooks catch a big touchdown pass. Flournoy was in the game some. Brooks was in the game some. They started the Wingo kid that they traded. It looks like he's not quite comfortable with the offense. You saw McCarthy early in the second half get a little frustrated with him on a third down conversion that he didn't convert. But overall, they're getting the max. I'm saying Mike McCarthy and the offensive staff's getting the max out of what they can get out of this offense. Cooper Beebe went down with a concussion. They had to bring Bass in. They moved Hoffman to center. And so now you got some fresh guys and new guys in there. And, I like how Hoffman has been playing, but having to move to center, it's a little different now. They brought Bass in. You saw the linebacker crash through and hit Dowdle for a 2-yard loss late in the game. That's going to happen. But I thought overall the Cowboys did what they needed to do offensively to keep themselves in the football game. Let's be honest with this. Cooper Rush is not going to push the ball down the field. They're not comfortable with it, pushing the ball down the field. They got one-on-one coverage into the boundary one time to Turpin. He got to go, and he still underthrew the ball. I mean, that's a ball that's got to be laid out there. And so I don't think Cooper Rush is a very good deep ball thrower. He's a very good manager of the game. He can dink and dunk the football. He can read the coverages okay. He can check out of certain things. If they motion and they don't see the guy run in man coverage, he was able to check out of that. You hear him say, kill, and they check to the run. So he is a game manager. That's what Cooper Rush does. He's not gonna win the football game for you. And he's probably not going to lose the game for you. He's going to manage the game for you. He threw an ugly interception early down there, which I thought really hurt the Cowboys because they had gotten the critical defensive stop the first series of the game, went down and went up 7-0, and then they got tied 7. They come back down the field and have a chance to put another 7 on the board, and they're running a combination with CD running a slant. And they were going to run Ferguson the wheel off of that slant. Well, CD kind of stops as if he doesn't really want to pick the man cover guy and get called and pick. Rush makes a bad read and is actually going to go ahead and throw him the slant. The ball gets tipped, and picked off. And so a really unfortunate error by Cooper Rush there in the red zone. And you can't have that when you're moving the football the way the Cowboys were moving it, the way that it felt like they were controlling the clock at that time, and their ability to keep pressing down the field as far as making Cincinnati have to match with them. And when you took it right down the field and you got no points right there, I think it was that was a big play in the football game. And so I come back and say, boom, then, Cincinnati comes right back down and scores on the swing pass. And then Dallas is playing catch up, but they didn't give up. I mean, they came back down into the red zone, got the Aubrey field goal. And so it was a 14-10 game at that point. And you think, Dallas is going to get the ball coming out in the second half. And, they just then that's when, you were saying they stumped their toe a couple of times right there with a couple of 3 and outs. And that's the other thing. When your defense is playing their heart out, you can't get yourself in 3 and out situations. And they got it twice back to back. And I thought it cost them in that first half. But offensively, we can go through this. I just think that this team did about got about as much out of their offensive personnel as they get. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. That's about what they are. And I thought they had to score 30 to win the football game. The defense played good enough to keep them. They could have won it with 23 right there. They just didn't manage it right, Jeff.
Yeah, great call there, Glenn. I will. I need to take a break here in a minute, but I think we were thinking along the same lines, and I thought really the best way in an ideal situation with the issues that the Cowboys have had with the injuries and everything going on and with Cooper Rush, I thought, okay, the best thing they can try to do is keep the Bengals offense off the field as much as possible. And they kind of did that. I mean, look at Rico. Rico Dowdle had 131 yards. I mean, he ran his tail off, but back to those 4 3 and outs. I think I said this to you, our last game, the Thanksgiving game. There are just times where I wish when the Cowboys absolutely need to keep the offense on the field and they need to move the ball, that and maybe I'm being unrealistic here, Glenn. You can tell me, but just more simple, easy bread and butter plays that Cooper Rush can make that he's comfortable instead of trying to throw like you said, the throws that the big plays. To your point, he doesn't look comfortable with those. So just something easy, just quick little slant, just something to keep the chains moving, to keep the offense on the field, and not just those quick 3 and outs. And I thought, this with him being with the team for 7 years, he'd be a little more comfortable, be able to at least do that.
Again, yeah. You're right, but at the end of the day, and he made the bad boot throw out to where he came out against his arm and dumped the ball down into the ground when he didn't have to. And even Aikman commented, "I didn't have to throw that ball that quick. He could have just kind of set his feet,
right, man,
yeah, out there." And he kind of made 3 straight really bad throws right there. But at the end of the day, he's a backup quarterback. That's what he is in the National Football League. Yep. And he managed the football game well enough for you to win, and you make a boneheaded play in the special teams, and it cost you the game. I mean, I don't know how to we could sit here and cut this 9 different ways, but at the end of the day, he's a backup quarterback, Jeff, and that's what he is. The Raiders brought him in and worked him out. He had multiple workouts, and he didn't sign with an NFL team. Guess what? He's a good backup. He's a smart guy. He's going to come in and get you through a football game. Is he a guy that's going to carry you into the playoffs, playing a half or over a half of a season? And I'll answer that for you. No is the answer.
Nice and sweet. All right. When we come back, some more thoughts on this game today. I want to ask you, too, about what it's like when you're dealing with an offensive line that's so banged up and so young. And I mean, it's one thing to say it and to talk about it, but it's another thing to live it and have to play through it. So I want to get your thoughts on that. We'll talk more about the offense and some of the other plays, and we'll kind of take a look at where the Cowboys go from here and what they can do and how they try to rebound after this tough loss tonight to the Bengals on Monday Night Football. This is Locked On Cowboys on the Locked On Cowboys POSTCAST. I'm Jeff Biggs along with Glenn Stretch Smith. All right, well, you got to get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Glenn Stretch Smith along with Jeff Biggs. This is the Locked On Cowboys postcast. The Cowboys come up short to the Bengals tonight by the final of 27-20 in the second half. The Cowboys, again, perfect drive to start the third quarter, 8 plays, 70 yards. You mentioned it earlier, Cooper Rush to Brandon Cooks. They got the interception from Malik Hooker. They had that direct snap to Kevontae Turpin, which I thought was a great play. And then the game just kind of stalled from there. Overshone tweaked his knee after the Aubrey field goal, 2 3-and-outs, and then, of course, the blocked punt debacle that we've been talking about. A lot of injuries. Cooper Beebe left the game with a concussion. Coach, what's it like? I mean, realistically, it's one thing, like I said, these guys have all been playing football, but to play at this level in a game when you got, guys getting called up and inexperienced and being thrown in at the last second or in the middle of a game, how tough is that, or how unrealistic is it, to expect a lot when you're trying to keep it together like that?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest with where we're at. First of all, we have a Hall of Famer in Zach Martin that's out. So we've had Hoffman come in and play his butt off for a few weeks. Now, at that position, when you have an opportunity to practice during the week with the ones, you're not running the scout team with the twos now. You're game planning and getting yourself ready and seeing the live looks with the ones. You're going to see that if you're honest with that young man, he's gotten better every week since he's been in the starting lineup. Okay, you have Adoga, who's playing some at left tackle with the injury to Guyton, with the injury that they had to Richards, and so he's playing on the left tackle side. Okay, and then you have Beebe, a rookie, who's playing in the middle. Last week, Thanksgiving Day, at 110 yards rushing, pretty good. They hadn't had a 100-yard rusher in a year. Pretty good chance. Now that group practices together for 10 days. They come out against a bad Cincinnati defense. Let's don't make any mistake about it. They're not a good defense. They're a beat-up defense too. Other than Hendrickson, I mean, this is I don't know that I could call you one guy that plays for them. But you know what? Those guys are on scholarship too. They get a paycheck too. And so when you think about, okay, Beebe goes down in the second half. Now you have to move Hoffman to center. You have to move Bass into right guard. Now, again, guys that haven't been working together, but hey, you have to have that next. You hear it all the time. I hate the coach's jargon, but hey, we got to play with the next man up. Okay, well, the next man up did a pretty decent job. I mean, at the end of the day, they had a 131-yard rusher. I hate getting on here and talking stats, but 7.3 a carry, it's really good. Now, we can sit here and cut this offensive line and say, yeah, I wish Adoga hadn't given up that sack to Hendrickson. Yes, I wish Steele had stepped backside instead of letting the end crash. Yes, instead when the Mike linebacker came up in there and stoned the Dowdle on first down that caused the 2nd and 12 scenario, he saw it late. Guess what? You're going to see it late when you're not out there practicing and you're not doing it. That's just part of what you're going to get. And so I'm hesitant to be very critical of an offensive line that I thought played pretty well, all things considering, with 3 backups. Now, I keep saying this. You have the confidence of your quarterback to at least know we got to get the ball out in some quick stuff. And I thought Mike McCarthy called a really good football game. And I've been very critical of Mike McCarthy because I can't stand to look over there at him, and he looks like he's looking at a Denny's menu. You can't practice all that crap in a month. So I don't understand that. But at the end of the day, he's done a good job with this offense the last few weeks. And so that's not the reason they lost the football game. Now let's go to the other side of the football. And Mike Zimmer and what he's done since this is the first time, keep in mind, that he's had Diggs, Bland, Jordan Lewis, all starters on the field, along with Wilson and Hooker. So this is the first time that you've seen a Dallas secondary line up all healthy all year. They've been, Bland got hurt in camp and Diggs got hurt. Jordan Lewis got hurt. We've heard all kinds of names out there. Butler was playing corner. Makuamu. We've heard all kinds of things. But these were the guys that were healthy. They needed to be healthy because guess who you're playing? You're playing Higgins, Chase. You're playing Gesicki. He can't block me on the line of scrimmage, but he's a former college volleyball player that can run, jump, and catch. And you're playing maybe the most accurate quarterback in the game in Burrow. Did a pretty good job defensively. They had every opportunity to win the football game. And so we can sit here and cut this a lot of different ways, Jeff. At the end of the day, yes, there was a play here, a play there. At the end of the day, one special teams play cost you this football game, and it's a shame.
All right. With that said, Coach, all right, we'll give you your final thought here. Go to Carolina next Sunday. Like you said, tough week, short week, but a tough week getting ready. And this Carolina team, that's no longer a gimme on the schedule as bad as they've been. They kept it close, almost beat the Eagles on Sunday, and they're going to be fired. Anytime you play the Cowboys, they're going to be fired up, especially at home. That's going to be a huge game for them, probably one of their games of the season. I'm wondering, am I off base? I'm thinking, do we see Trey Lance at any point? Do you give him an extended look, or do you just keep trying to build on what you got going here with Cooper Rush?
At this point, I think if you're realistic, at this point, this game you're no longer in the playoffs. You're no longer a playoff team. Let's be honest about it. Okay, so with that being said, I'm for throwing the kitchen sink out there. I'm for playing every young guy can play. I'm for continuing to play the young offensive line. I'm for, I'm wanting to see Deuce Vaughn in the backfield some. Yeah, I'm wanting to see Flournoy. I'm wanting to see Spanford, the 3 tight end. I'm for seeing all of those guys. And then on defense, I'm for seeing all the young guys you got. You got a 4-game set right here from which you can evaluate the crap out of your football team. It never happened. You don't ever get a chance to do this.
No.
Preseason football's not this fast. So if I'm in this seat, and the reason I'm not, and probably sitting here talking to you is because of this, because I'd be playing all those guys, I'd put Lance in there. I'd find out what we have in him. You know what? The only way you get better driving a Formula One race car is to drive it. You and I could get in my Z71 truck, and we could take you around the track, and I could show you the line, and boy, I could show you, hey, on this corner we got to go here, and when we come here we got to do here, we got to brake here, and we got to pit here. At the end of the day, if you're not driving the Formula One race car, you're not very good. You're not a good driver. And so I say that because it's about the speed of the game, and giving these kids this opportunity. I'd throw it all out there. I really would. I'd take a look at my roster, kind of halfway, trying to put this thing in reverse to get myself a top 5 pick, because you've got multiple needs on this football team right now. And if you don't recognize that where we're at in the season, then you might want to, lay off for 2 weeks and quit altogether.
All right, Coach. So they'll get a day off tomorrow and then come back and start getting ready on Wednesday. And it's about being a pro, right? You got to, as bad as the season has been, you got to finish strong, and know that even as bad as the record is, everybody's watching you.
No question. And at the end of the day, you know what? That stadium in Charlotte, I bet it hadn't sold out all year. I'm going to help you out. It'll be a sellout Sunday when the Cowboys come to town. It will. And you know what?
Yeah.
Like you said, this will be their Super Bowl. This could make their year if they could beat the Dallas Cowboys. And so, yeah, you got to be a professional, and you got to know that, you know what, I got to continue to get better as a professional. And that's how you have to approach every single day, because you know what, if you don't, that's when not good things happen. I think that about Zach Martin. I really do. I think about Zach Martin coming out at the beginning of the year and saying, this is probably going to be my last year. You know what? It probably should have been your last year before that, because if you think that way, and you know, it just doesn't, good things don't happen. And I hope like crazy, let me say this, I hope Zach Martin decides to come back for one more year and play so he can go out on top. But I think you got to throw it all out there, Jeff, and continue to try to get better, all along knowing, boy, it'd be nice to get a top 5 pick if you're realistic with where this football team is right now, which is a 5-8 football team. And we could cut it down to a play here, a play there. You know, at the end of the day, their average is a bowl of grits, and that's a fact.
Well, it's a fact that we got through the show. Thank you for your insight and your wisdom. As always, appreciate it, enjoyed it, and we'll do it again next time.
Man, have a blessed day and a good rest of your week. Even though the Cowboys lost, the sun will be up tomorrow, and things are going to be a lot better, Jeff. We got a lot of sunshine coming, brother.
Yeah, amen, amen. That is Glenn Stretch Smith. I am Jeff Biggs. Thank you for hanging with us and going over the game with us. Tough loss, but we'll be here with you the rest of the season. And we'll see what happens next weekend in Carolina. Don't forget to tune in to Marcus and Landon on the Cowboys podcast during the week. This is the Locked On Cowboys postcast. For Glenn, I'm Jeff. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll get ready for Week 15 coming up. Good night.